The forest held a strange duality, serene and sinister. Sunlight filtering through the canopy was calming. Birdsong filled the air. It was a place of peace, an escape from the everyday. Yet there was an underlying current of unease. Perhaps it was the rustling leaves unseen in the dense foliage, or maybe the way the shadows deepened as the sun began to set. Whatever it was, the forest held secrets. Secrets whispered on the wind, secrets best left undisturbed. Rain transformed the woods into something else entirely. The pitter-patter of droplets on leaves was hypnotic. The scent of damp earth was intoxicating. But this beauty was deceiving. Rain masked sound, it blurred vision, and in those moments of sensory deprivation, the forest felt most alive. This was when the woods truly became a place of fear. The group of friends had been anticipating this camping trip for weeks. Mark, the seasoned outdoorsman, had assured them it would be an adventure. Emily, ever the optimist, was excited to disconnect from the digital world. John, more cautious than the others, couldn't shake a feeling of apprehension. He chalked it up to nerves. They set up camp under a sky painted with the hues of a setting sun. Laughter echoed through the trees as they shared stories and roasted marshmallows. As darkness fell, the wind picked up. The once playful rustling of leaves turned into an angry roar. The temperature dropped, sending a chill down their spines. Mark, ever the pragmatist, suggested they secure their campsite. They needed to prepare for the storm. Little did they know, a different kind of storm was brewing, one that threatened more than just their camping trip. The sky unleashed its fury. Rain lashed down, each drop an icy bullet. Thunder rattled their very bones. Lightning illuminated the forest in a strobe-like effect, revealing the trees swaying violently. Fear, raw and primal, tightened its grip on the group. Their tent offered little protection against the elements. Water seeped in, soaking their belongings. Mark, his voice barely audible above the wind, suggested seeking shelter. They needed to find someplace, anything to wait out the storm. Through the driving rain, they stumbled upon a path. It was overgrown, almost swallowed by the forest. Hope flickered amidst the fear. The path had to lead somewhere. It was a beacon in the storm, a chance, however slim, of finding refuge. With renewed determination they pushed forward, the path their only guide through the raging tempest. The path led them to a clearing, and there, in the heart of the storm, stood a cabin. It was small, barely noticeable beneath the overgrowth. Its wooden walls were weathered and worn, a testament to years of exposure to the elements. A single window, dark and lifeless, stared back at them like a watchful eye. They hesitated for a moment, uncertainty gripping their hearts, but the storm raged on, offering them no other choice. Mark approached cautiously, his hand hovering over the doorknob. It was unlocked, yielding to his touch with a groan. The scent of damp wood and something else, something stale and unsettling, hit them. Despite their fear, they stepped inside. The cabin was a single room, sparsely furnished with a rickety table, a couple of chairs and a fireplace, long cold. It wasn't much, but it was shelter. As the storm raged outside, the group huddled together, their bodies shivering not just from the cold but from a fear they couldn't quite place. The silence within the cabin was broken only by the howling wind and the rhythmic drumming of rain against the roof. It was in that silence they began to hear it, a faint whisper. It seemed to come from the shadows, a low, mournful sound, like someone or something trying to speak. Emily, her voice trembling, asked, "Did you hear that?" John, his eyes wide with fear, nodded. Even Mark, usually the voice of reason, seemed unnerved. He dismissed it as the wind playing tricks on their ears. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. The whispers continued, growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to be closing in, wrapping around them like icy fingers. Their attention was drawn to a dusty, leather-bound journal lying on the table. It was tucked away beneath a pile of rotting wood, almost hidden from view. With hesitant fingers, Mark reached for it, his gut twisting with a sense of foreboding. The journal's pages were brittle, filled with faded ink and frantic handwriting. It was the diary of a hiker, lost and alone in the woods. The hiker's words painted a terrifying picture. He wrote of being watched, followed by something he couldn't see but could feel lurking in the shadows. He described the same whispers they were now hearing, whispers that drove him to the brink of madness. The entries grew more desperate, more unhinged with each passing day. The final entry was a chilling plea for help, ending abruptly mid-sentence. Panic seized them. The journal was a window into their own potential fate. They were not alone in the cabin. Something was out there, watching, waiting. The whispers intensified, swirling around them, mocking their fear. And then, they saw them. Shadows moved beyond the cabin window, silhouetted against the sheets of rain. They were tall and gaunt, their forms shifting and distorting in the downpour. The figures pressed against the window, their long, bony fingers leaving trails on the rain-streaked glass. Their faces, hidden in the darkness, were turned towards the group. Empty sockets seemed to stare into their souls. The group huddled together, their breath catching in their throats. They were trapped, hunted by something as old as the forest itself. Section 8. Flight into fear. Adrenaline surged through their veins. They had to escape. Mark, his voice tight with fear, urged them to move. They scrambled to their feet, their eyes darting from the shadows outside to the flimsy door that stood between them and whatever lurked beyond. As they fumbled with the latch, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night. It came from Emily. She pointed a trembling finger at the window. One of the figures was gone. It was now pressed against the wall, its skeletal hand reaching through a crack in the wood. Its touch sent a jolt of terror through the group. They threw their weight against the door, bursting out into the storm. Section 9. Lost and hunted. The forest was alive with the sounds of the storm and the echoes of their own fear. They ran blindly through the undergrowth, branches whipping at their faces, rain stinging their eyes. The path they had followed was lost in the darkness. Behind them, they heard the pounding of heavy footsteps closing in. The whispers grew louder, taunting them, urging them to give up. John, his breath coming in ragged gasps, stumbled and fell. Mark and Emily stopped, their hearts pounding in their chests. They couldn't leave him behind. They hauled him to his feet, their eyes scanning the darkness for their pursuers. They were surrounded. The shadows moved closer, their forms shifting, their whispers growing louder. They were out of time. Section 10. A glimmer in the darkness. Just when all hope seemed lost, a light pierced the darkness. It was faint at first, a distant glimmer through the trees. But it was enough. Hope surged through them, urging them forward. They stumbled toward the light, their legs burning, their lungs screaming for air. As they drew closer, the light grew stronger, revealing the outline of a dirt road. With the last of their strength, they broke free of the tree line and stumbled onto the road. A truck driver, his headlights cutting through the rain, slammed on his brakes. He had seen the terror in their eyes, the desperation in their movements. He didn't question their appearance, their incoherent ramblings. He just ushered them into his truck, offering them warmth, safety, and a way out. Section 11. A haunting reminder. They never spoke of that night again. The memories were too painful, too real. They tried to resume their lives, but the forest held them captive. The whispers followed them, echoing in their dreams. The shadows lingered in the corners of their vision, a constant reminder of what they had seen, what they had escaped. The forest remained, a dark and silent sentinel. It held its secrets close, whispering them to the wind and the rain. The cabin still stood, hidden amongst the trees, a testament to the terror that unfolded within its walls. And those who dared to venture into the woods, especially during the rain, would do well to remember. The forest held dangers beyond their comprehension. Listen for the whispers, beware the shadows, and never ever seek shelter in the storm.